guessing its alignment is generally east and west, because west is probably about like that. The sun's right off my left shoulder at about 1 o'clock. The outsides of these smaller domes in the aisles are more interesting than the inside. The neighborhood is alive on Friday. Its primary asset, this Palermo Cathedral, is it's big, but nothing extraordinary about it. Context, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. It's relatively unimaginative. These domes is interesting, but they were simply finished apparently and now weathering away. These baptismal fonts, if that's what they are, the most interesting thing here, I think, so far. Again, nothing terribly extraordinary. It even looks like those paintings there very much after the fact. Almost looks modern. This is an interesting element in the church, quite singular. It appears, I think, to have symbols that are familiar to the who believes in the effect of planets. It's a sheep, it looks like. Here's some fishes and a scorpion, maybe. Here's a centaur, a minotaur, and a man. And then the last one, which I'll have to turn the camera around to look at. So hold on. Okay, whatever that is, I can determine its alignment when I get outside. I'm guessing its alignment is generally east and west, because west is probably about like that. The sun's right off my left shoulder at about 1 o'clock. The outsides of these smaller domes in the aisles are more interesting than the inside. Walking down a quiet, nondescript little street, a couple of streets over from the main drag, and just noticed this. In its day, it must have been very impressive. Indicating the great presence of this place in the past. Now it's a B&B. It's probably quite well done. Shadow of that dome on this busy little intersection area, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. Referring to Bolero, which is the marketplace. I don't think this is the marketplace. Perhaps getting up early in the morning, those Senegalese men that work in that and live perhaps in that Bolero area, but really only seen when they close it down and everybody else is gone. Another carriage entrance probably, and vehicle entrance to one of the great homes. Pretty close to Quatro Cantile, which I think is right up the street. Senegalese woman, I suspect, working her way back to her area with her child. Right a ways upwind from the Quatro Cantile area. I'd say that intersection of 4 great sculpted corners. It's something like this, and we're tempted to think it was built as a hotel, and maybe it was, but the irony is 600 years ago the Spanish who lived here were powerful and rich. Imagine when that little balcony was built to provide the owners with nice views, obstructed now by all the other buildings. This is another building, home. There another, almost covering what looks like a block or half a block. Areas here that are filled up now with these buildings may be what came in afterward, and also what might have been their backyards, if you will. And the power that crest was meant to output. Here at the tourist center, where they're very helpful, and across the street is this, looks like Recia, whatever that is, University. This tower, which is at this end of one of the buildings that forms the four corners of the Quatro Cantile. In front of the tourist office is this, which looks like the top of a hammam, or it could be a mosque, or it could be none of those. Because as we saw in the Hermitage of, or the St. John's of the Hermits, there were a couple of these pink domes up on top of it. I don't know what these churches are, so I'll have to name them after the fact. One of these churches, the Catald, if I can find it, somewhere at its base has a little bit of a remnant of something Roman. Church with the three domes on it is Cataldo. All I want to do is look around the base, because I think that's where they said the Roman remnants were. We'll also go inside. The church is also known as the Admiral's Church. It might well be some Arabic calligraphy up there, suggesting for certain that it was once a mosque. And this is the Admiral's Church again. Tower looks interesting. It always seems truncated, cut off like that at the top. This is the dramatic fountain near Quatro Cantile intersection. Right behind it, right behind that building actually. It seems new, or perhaps whitewashed, literally. I imagine that fountain up there once was very dramatic. Look how the bowls themselves are tilted. I don't know what this huge church is. Bland, except for a couple of novel things like those interesting, or at least curious, buttresses. So Marie and Joseph, I don't know what this is. I think it's one of, I'll wait and see.